We're up to Daf Lamed Tes, but I think, let's see. Let's see if we have to go back a little bit. I don't think we got to the Mishnah yet. Trouble is when I switch Gemaras, I get the. Let me see. I think I may have written down. Let's start with Abaye on Lamed Ches Amid Beis. Abaye Omar, the last line. Reisha de naflula kishehi shomeres yavam. So in the case of the Reisha, what happens is that her husband died and she fell for Yibum, and then her father died, and she inherited her father's estate, and she's a Shomeres Yavam. So as far as her original husband, who now passed away, he didn't have any zchus in the nechasim that she inherited after his death. I mean, what shaykhs does he have to his shver's nechasim? And it's only after he died that his shver died, so he has no claim to those nechasim, and therefore, kuliyamalo pligi, says Abaye, that nechasim b'cheskasa u'mocheres lechatchila, these nechasim are hers, and she could sell them. And if she dies, then her yorshim will inherit that estate. Seifa did naflu la kishehi tachtav the baal. So her father died, leaving an estate, and she's married. And at that moment, the Baal gains ownership rights over the estate of his father-in-law. Now he dies, the Baal, and the Yavam now steps into his shoes. And here's where we have machlokas between Beis Hillel and Beit Shammai. According to Beit Shammai, since we recognize Zika as a quasi-Nisuin, therefore, since Ruvain, at the time that he died, had a chazak on these nechasim that came through her father, his father-in-law, so to Shimon, according to Beit Shammai, stepping in, as it were, to the shoes of Ruvain, also has rights to the nechasim that fell from the Yerusha of Aviv, of her father. Because Savra Abaye, on top of Lamed Tes, Yado ki Yada. Okay, now we want to explain Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel say that a married woman, Yado, the yad of the Baal is ki Yada, is like the yad of the Isha. So they both have equal rights to the nechasim. And now the husband dies, and she falls for Yibum to his brother. Is Yad HaYavam Grua Miyad HaBaal? Right, the Yavam is already one diluted stage downwards because he has only Zika and not Ishus. Imkein Yada Shel HaIsha Adifa Miyad HaYavam. So again, in this gap or discrepancy between Nisuin and Zika, whereas during the Nisuin per se, the Yad HaBaal is the upper hand. He has the upper hand on her nechasim. But after he dies, and we go down one level to that of a yavam, the Yad HaYavam is not as powerful as the Yad HaBaal. So that Zika does not equal Nisuin. And therefore the Yad HaIsha Adifa Miyad HaYavam and the Chasim V'Chezkasa. Now she dies, and she's a Shomeres Yavam. So her Yarshim will inherit her, and not the Yarshim Abal. That's according to Beis Hillel, because Beis Hillel maintained that Zika is not Nisuin. Ach Beit Shammai Sovrim, Sheksha Isha Nesua Yado Shal Abal Adifa Miyad Isha, Shehu Muchzak Bahem Yosem Min Isha. Ukshemeis Abal V'Nofel Snei Yavam Yado Shal Abal Shal Yavam Grua Miyad Abal Strei Ein Nesulos Kuka V'Yad Yavam Kiyad Isha V'Koach Shneim Shav. So as long as the Baal is alive, the original husband, he has superiority over her. When we go down to the next level, because the Baal died and we're at the level of a Yavan, now we equalize the power or the chazaka of both the Isha and the Yavan. And if that be the case, then Beit Shammai maintained that when she dies, we're going to split the nechasim between Yorshei Abal and Yorshei Ha'av. Amalei Rava. So Rava says to Abaye, I did not flee kishi tachtov de Baal. If her father died and left an estate and she's married, kuli amalo pligi diyado adifa miyada. Right, the Baal owns nichsei malug, and she doesn't have any possession over the payros of nichsei malug. Is then I understand kuli amalo pligi, whether it's Beit Shammai or Beis Hillel, diyado adifa miyada. Right, because we're talking now about the Baal, and the Baal is muchzak on the nechasim. Now he dies. She falls for Yibum. And Yibum is not the same as Koach HaBaal. It's a lower level. Then Naseis Yad HaYavam Ki Yada. So even while her husband was alive, she had some claim to the nechasim that came from her father, that estate. But the Baal, as in this, Nisuin, has a superior yad, but she still has a yad. And then Afkamina is going to be when this Baal dies and you're left with the Yavam. The Yavam does not have the same status as the Baal. He's now going to pick up the status of a Yavam. What does it mean a Yavam has a status? Just 1 second. He writes in Naseis Yad HaYavam Tiyada. What does that mean? Nases yad hayovam kiyada. Right, because we said even when the original husband was alive, she had some element of yad, albeit inferior to the Baal. Now that we're at the level of the Yavam, so her, that dormant, recessive gene of a claim that she had when her husband was alive, now that steps out to the fore, to the frontal stage, and equalizes the rights of the Yavam to the Nechas. Okay, now she dies. So as long as she was alive and she was a Shomeres Yavam, then we say that both she and the Yavam have equal rights to the Nechasa. But now she dies while she's a Shomeres Yavam. So now we're going to say Yachlok. So I'm not sure. Is this to be read as a question? Again, Amalei Rava says to Abaye, I did naflu la kishehi tachtov de Baal kuli amalo pligi de yodo shalabal adifa biyoda. So Baal has a chazak of nechsei belug. It's greater than Harya. But in Mesa Baal, ben olfeles lifnei yavam. And now we say that we go down a level. The koach of the yavam is not the same as that of the Baal. So then her yad and the yavam's yad should be equal. And if she dies, therefore, we should say, according to everybody, yachloku. Oh, I see. This is Abaye's kasha. This is Rava's kasha against Abaye, right? Because it's only Beit Shammai that say yachloku, right? Let's go back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Mesa, is Beit Shammai Omer Yachloku, Yoshei Abal Yoshei Ha'av, Beis Hillel Omer Ibn Chasa B'Cheskasa. Right, so why did Beis Hillel say Nechasim B'Cheskasa? According to you, Abaye, in your analysis, that Yodo Ki Yoda. If it's Yodo Ki Yoda, then Beis Hillel should also say Yachloku. Ella. So now I think Rav is rejecting Abaye, and he wants to differentiate between the case where the father died and his estate fell to Yerusha when she was married, as opposed to this case where it fell to Yerusha when she's a Shomeres Yoma. And Idi v'Idi, in both the Reish and the Seifa, is Naflula Kishehi Shomeres Yavam. So her father died while she was a Shomeres Yavam. So her original husband had no schus in those nechasim. So what's the difference now between the Reisha and the Seifa? Reisha, he has an addition. Did naflo liyibum, v'naflu nechasim, v'adayin lo ovad ba maimar. Again, the Yerusha fell to her from her father's estate when she was a Shomeres Yavan. The Baal Harishon didn't have any schus in those nechasim, so the Yavam didn't inherit any rights from his late brother. So in the case of the Reisha, we're talking about Nafla Liyibum. And now her father dies, and lo ovid ba maimar. I'm not sure exactly why Rava shifts our attention to maimar. What are we left with? If the Yavam did not do a maimar, we're left with zikas yibum. And now, as a result of the zikas yibum, the Yavam wants to claim ownership over the nechasim, but he can't do so because even his deceased brother had no claim to these nechasim. Because nafla law kishi shomeres yavam. So the original husband is out of the picture. Lo avad ba maimar. You're left with zika, and now he has no rights to the possessions that she inherits from her father. And therefore, if she dies, then the Yarshei Abal are completely out of it. They have no claim whatsoever to this estate. But Seifa, the Ovid ba Maimar, before she died, she accepted Kesef or Shtar from the Yavam, which is called Maimar. Then her husband died. No. What did I just say? The husband died? That doesn't make any sense. You didn't want to embarrass me. So the father died, right? Her father died after there was Maimon. So remember, we had Beit Shammai back on Daf Chavtes, that Beit Shammai recognizes recognizes Maimar as a Kinyan. So therefore, she's now married to the Yavam after Maimar. As a Baal, he has a schus in Hanachas. Beit Shammai hold ein Maimar konim in Torah. But Maimar shasa Yavam b'yavim to lo hosif legabi schutzo b'nechasim v'anechasim he b'cheskas ha'isha bilvad. So the Gemara says, "V'kasava Rava Maimar lebeit Shammai ose vadai arusa v'safek nesua." You know, this Maimar is kona midoraisa, and nechsheves vadai karusasa. What does that mean, vadai karusasa? It says, oh, it's a vad. Oh, I see. It's a vadai arusa, but a safek nesua. So if he wants to inherit all her nechasa when she dies, he can't do so with Doris Vadai because he's only a safek nesua. That's the status of the Yavam even after Maimar. And all this is according to Beit Shammai, and we're equating Maimar with Erisin, but not Nesuin. It's a safek Nesuin. Vadai Arusa Lidkos Bitsara. Right, so let's say the Yavam did a Maimar to the Yevimto, and then, okay, now we have a Tzara situation, then her sister falls for Yibum when she was married to the brother, a different brother, before the Yibum. Achos zu shenofeles mea acha acher asura olav kedin achos isha. And all this is a result of the Maimar, because Maimar is a Vadei Arutza. So now the Tzara becomes Achos Isha. And therefore, Ebo Zika Klal. The Af Ishto Sha'asa Maimar Ein Asura Olav Midin Achos Kukasa. Umaimar Ose Es HaYevama Safek Nesua Le'inyan Lachlok Bin Achasin Kishemesa. Eina Yoresh is called Nechaseha Sha'af HaMaimer Ose Kinyan, but it's only a Kinyan Erisin. V'ein Habal Yad B'nichse Arusasa Kevat She'ein Amar Kona Kinyan Nesuin L'chein Ein Hayavam Notels Kol HaNechasim El Nechsheves Kisafek Nesua Lo V'imesa the Oda Shomeres Yavam Yachloku B'nechaseha Im Yarshea Isha. So this leads us to Itmar. All right, we'll stop here. Let me just make a note of where we got up to. I'm really very anxious to get up to the Mishnah. I'm hoping that we'll start a whole new, because this Sugya Beisil Beit Shammai is really, really complicated. Let's see where we got up to now. We'll make a note of it. Itmar. Itmar Mishmei Rebbe Loza. How far down is that? Just see. Having trouble finding it. Where is it? Itmar. Oh, there it is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down from the top. Okay, then. All right. Yeah. And thanks for saving me with this email.
Okay.
All right. So we'll see tomorrow if hopefully the weather will improve. Although I don't know, I heard a rumor it might snow.
It's supposed to be chilly, so it could.
It could theoretically. Why they're expecting rain for the next day or two, or what?
Yeah, I think Wednesday is the next forecast for precipitation.